A full-blown final, and remember, all of these women will be aware of the fact that accidents do happen and they've got to be careful in the way they take off. It'll be Aina Kaiser Saarinen in picture, 27 years of age, Aiku as she's known, to run the first leg. Repi Koivunen and her partner will run the last leg. Ella Jomle for Norway, they wear 10, and her partner, the great Marit Bjørgen, who seemingly is back to something like her very best. With a lovely smile, Sarah Renner for Canada from Canmore, partnered by Becky Scott, a formidable duo. For the Russian Federation, Olga Moskalenko-Rotcheva and her partner Alena Sidko, and remember, Rotchev, her brother-in-law, goes in the men's final. For Sweden, the number 1 and number 2 in the World Cup rankings, Anna Dahlberg and Lena Andersson. Anna Dahlberg to run first. For the host nation, Ariana Follis, looking serious and focused, with her partner Gabriella Paruzzi, who will run her life out for this, her last Olympic Games. Natsumi Madoka, a wave to the fans. Fukuda will be the anchor woman for Japan. And then Germany, from right in Winkel, Evi Sakabaka-Stelle. Could it be a medal day for her? Viola Bauer, both of those women Olympic gold medalists from 2002. Wendy K. Wagner for the United States with Keegan Randall. And then wearing 6, Kazakhstan, Oksana Yatskaya. The Kazakhs yet to show any real form this season. Might it be this afternoon? Could they possibly get up there and maybe vie for a bronze? Elena Kolomina is her partner. So Finland, Norway, Canada, Russia, Sweden, Italy, Japan, Germany, United States and Kazakhstan. 16 set out, 10 now have the chance to win gold, silver or bronze for their nation. And on the near side, Aino Kaisa Saarinen in blue for Finland gets away. 10 right to her left is Ella Jomle for Norway. And they drop down out of the stadium on the first of their 1,145 meter journeys. 2, that's Sarah Renner tucking into third place, just ahead of Sweden's Anna Dahlberg in the white strip. And it is Sweden who are chasing in fourth place there. And then there's a little break back to team number 4, Italy. That's Ariana Follis on the near side. And already they've got this field, the front 4 at a stretch, with also Olga Rotcheva just struggling to go the early pace, finding their rhythm now. That's the first part of the job. Then to try and find your position. And on the, a quick skip and cut there by Saarinen. Very well done, but Sarah Renner was beautifully placed to take over second spot. Third goes Anna Dahlberg, and Ella Jomle demoted to fourth place for Norway. And now the field just setting down, Rotcheva in fifth spot. So they've done the turn, now they're on this climb. They come past this little clump of trees, and Sarah Renner just moving up on the inside. She wants to be first into the left-hand turn, but then takes them down again to the lowest point of the journey before the climb now back into the stadium and the first of the exchanges. So Sarah Renner putting herself in a strong position. Saarinen working hard. She's going to hand over to Koivunen. Renner is going to hand over to Becky Scott. Jomle is going to hand over to Marit Bjørgen. Sakenbakka is going to hand over to Bauer. There is Marit Bjørgen, and there is Verpi Koivunen. Koivunen, who's saved herself for this race, denied herself the opportunity to go in the pursuit, to concentrate on this for Finland, and also a little later in the week the 10-kilometer race. Here we come into the changeover zone. It's 45 meters. The first women have done their first leg. They've 2 more to do, but now the second runner has their first outing in this all-important final. And Canada, Becky Scott trying to get away quickly. Lena Andersson in the white for Sweden, and it's all pretty tight as they go out. Finland, Norway, Canada, Russia and Sweden all together. Finland then a little break to Italy and Japan, and Germany have got some work to do to make sure that they don't get left behind here. Viola Bauer has got to try and close up. So Canada on the left of your screen there, 31-year-old Becky Scott, Olympic champion. Also, incidentally, Canada's representative on the World Anti-Doping Agency body, and when she has spare time, also a UNICEF representative. So a very busy woman, but at the moment focused on trying to win an Olympic gold medal. She is a champion, an Olympic champion in the pursuit 4 years ago in Salt Lake City. And Sara Renner just pacing around. Same with Aino Kaisa Saarinen. And so it is Scott for Canada on the right. Just behind Scott there is Lena Andersson. On the near side is Verpi Koitin and Marit Bjørgen trying to get Norway back into it. There's Marit going through in about 4th place now. And for Russia, it's their second runner for the Russian Federation. And that's Elena Sidko. So Becky Scott, 3 World Cup victories, a really cleverly and well executed preparation. But Lena Andersson, you can see the way that this woman is beginning to move up. She was second, the world silver medalist in the classic sprint behind Emily Östig last year in Oberstdorf. Östig, who might well have been in this duo for Sweden, but for the fact that she was sick in December and hasn't recovered her full fitness, hasn't got her race pace. But look at Marit Bjørgen. Marit Bjørgen on the hills. Look at the power of the Norwegian. And Marit Bjørgen, the woman who missed out on the World Sprint Classic Championship last year, failed to qualify, now reminding us that she is a real talent. She was World Sprint Champion back in 2003, and Bjørgen comes in to give Jørmle a much better handover, and that's a great piece of work in the last 20 seconds there by Marit Bjørgen. So it's Ella Jørmle on the right for Norway in the white hat, Sara Renner in the black hat, wearing 2 for Canada, and those two vying for their nations as they have been pretty well all the way through. Moskalenko-Racheva is right up there for Russia, also Evi Sakenbacher for Germany. Over the little bridge, 9 just behind in white, that's Anna Dahlberg, who had a sprint victory just before the games, coming into these championships. And what a boost it was. You might say a little gifted, but a win's a win, and that was in Davos, and it might have been freestyle, but that doesn't matter. So 4 teams at the moment. Team 1, Finland, just at the back, and the big concern really is the German team, who are not at the moment at the races. Becky Scott from Vermillion. Husband Justin Wadsworth will be as keen as anybody to see his wife Sara Renner, supported by her husband Thomas Grandy, who goes in the giant slalom later in the games. Verpi Koittinen just off the pace now, but still close enough if good enough. And there is Evi Sakenbacher just trying to get Germany in. She has so much desire, Sakenbacher. Don't rule her out, even though the gap is tantalizing at the moment. And there's Sakenbacher, arguably a better skater. Oh, and a new pole there, and that's a broken pole, and that has really disrupted Becky Scott's chances. Now Becky Scott has got to get into this race there, and she's got Sakenbacher right on her tail, and still uncomfortable. She's not got far to go, but all the time the other 3, you can just see it just came up The top there fortuitously with that broken pole, ready to get rid of it, and back now, but it's not the pole of the right size. She's doing the best she can, and she's about 4 to 5 meters away. Now this is a chance for her to get back into it. Remember, we're just at about at the half distance. So Finland, from Sweden, from Norway, and then Canada, and then Germany. So Verpi Koitinen on her way. Sarah Renner it was with the broken pole, not Becky Scott, so apologies for the confusion, and she did really well. And now you can see she's about 4 meters to make now, Becky Scott, to get Canada back into this. So Koitinen leading on from Anderson. Becky just checking on the whereabouts of Viola Bauer of Germany. And these three front women, they're not going to slow down now. They'll be well aware of the problems of the Canadian, and that's a good effort there. Becky Scott beginning to attack now. Becky Scott attacking on the climb to try and join up on the floor. Evi Sakenbacher moving around. Aino Kaiser Saarinen keeping on the go as well. Crucial stage now, and look at this on the left there. Look at the work that Becky Scott's done. She's using energy, she's using petrol, but she's got past Lena Anderson to put herself into third place. So it's Norway leading at the moment, and it's Magic Marit who's up there in front. Clearly the stomach disorder of 48 hours ago is now of memory and a distant one, but she's got on her tail Verpi Koitinen, Lena Anderson, and also Becky Scott on the hills. This is where Marit Bjørgen in her career has done so much damage. Just cuts, closes the door there on Koitinen. Clever racer, smart brain. So vying for 3 medals at the moment. It looks as if Germany can't get involved in this. Marit Bjørgen with full of running. Look at this after the broken pole for Sarah Renner, and the gutsy recovery by her, and now Becky Scott. We come into the penultimate exchange. So Aino Kaiser Saarinen for Finland for the final time. It's Sarah Renner for the final time for Canada. It's Anna Dahlberg for her last run for Sweden. And it's Ella Jumle for Norway. Ella Jumle, the winner of the classic sprint in Oberstdorf. Her first ever World Cup success, which no doubt played much into the mind of Samdal to run with Marit Bjørgen. And we have 4, but there are only 3 medals. So Sarah Renner bronze medal last year in the World Championships in the classic sprint in Oberstdorf. Behind Lena Anderson, behind Emily Erstig, leading this little group round. Jumle on the outside in white. That's Dahlberg. Jumle also in that quartet, and these are the women who are going to decide the destiny of this race. Marit Bjørgen, never an Olympic champion, never an individual medal. A relay silver, incredibly as it seems, that's all that Marit's got, a relay silver from Salt Lake City. Is it going to be an individual medal for her? We'll know very shortly, and round the turn goes Aino-Kaisa Saarinen. Good racing there. Sara Renner in second place, Anna Dahlberg third, and Ella Jumle finding the pressure a little hot now, and that means that Marit Bjørgen is going to be set the real big question. There's Jumle, the third climb. Remember, these women have been in the semi-final, so this is the sixth time this morning in the space of 1 hour and 45 minutes that they've had to sprint at maximum speed round the little clump of trees. Down they go. Now the right-hander, this 8-meter climb back into the stadium, setting up for this penultimate handover. And Jumle trying to get every inch a little closer, every millimeter counts to hand over to Marit Bjørgen, but there you can see that Jumle, the skis are just not kicking and sticking as much, and now coming onto the shoulder of Aino-Kaisa Saarinen is Sara Renner, who survived the broken pole to come over and give Becky Scott perhaps the advantage, but right with the front two is Anna Dahlberg, who's done a splendid job for Sweden, and so it's Canada, Finland and Sweden, three in a line, shoulder to shoulder as they go out for the last 1,145 meters. They'll climb from 1,561 meters up to 1,577 meters, and now the crowd really getting animated, particularly the Norwegian fans, to see whether Marit Bjørgen can do the impossible, which is to close on the front three and earn herself and her Norwegian teammate Ella Jumle, who really struggled on her third and final lap, a medal. And Bjørgen absolutely charging over the roller, but still 25 meters adrift of the front three. And every bit of energy she's using is going to count towards the end of this race. Germany at the moment, Viola Bauer well behind, and it's all about Verpi Koitinen up front here, 29 years of age, from Numela. 4 World Cup victories, all classics, but this is the big one for her, to try and become an Olympic medalist. 5th last year in the World Championship Classic final, 5th in the World Cup rankings coming into these Olympic Games. To her right, to your left, Lena Andersson, the world sprint silver medalist, and to her right, now as you see them, it's Becky Scott, the Olympic pursuit champion from Salt Lake City, who is now trying to win for her and her teammate Sara Renner another Olympic gold medal. And it is Sara Renner who leads, I should say, Becky Scott, who leads Koitinen, who leads Andersson. These three still ahead of Marit Bjørgen. And Koitinen moves across the trails. You can see the shadow of Bjørgen behind, but it is a shadow at the moment. And Koitinen, tremendously strong, takes the inside file. Remember, this is a race where a little bit of patience is going to be needed. They're trying to burn away from Lena Andersson. Koitinen, smart again, closes the door a little bit there on Becky Scott. And so it's Finland, from Canada, from Sweden. That's the way it looks. But who is going to get gold? Who is going to get silver? Who is going to take home the bronze for their partner? Sara Renner waits for Becky Scott. Kaisa Saarinen waits for Verpi Koitinen. And it's Lena Andersson looking towards Anna Dahlberg, and at the moment it's Lena Andersson on the near side and Becky Scott on the far side as they come round the turn into the final straight. And here it's Lena Andersson, 24 years of age, for Sweden, who is coming home ahead of Becky Scott. Koitinen can find no more. It's a first Olympic gold medal for Lena Andersson and for Sweden at the 2006 Winter Olympic Games. Sweden take the women's classic sprint, and it's silver to Canada, bronze to Finland. Absolutely brilliant by Lena Andersson. And a triumph also for the whole of the Swedish coaching and service team. And a personal note of congratulations to Inge Broughton, the head coach. Took over less than a year ago, and to get any sort of medal, and they could make it the double because they've got the great Björn Lind going in the men's final. But Sweden have gold. Norway, Marit Bjørgen, too much ground to make up. And for Verpi Koita, that as soon as this men's sprint final has been decided, we will be going to another part of Sestriere, to the downhill course where the men's combined takes place. John Clark, your host for that, and we'll be going there as soon as this men's final is over. So stay with us, because if you enjoyed the women's and you thought that was hot, this promises to be something really special, because in this race we have some really brutal sprinters. And for Norway we've got Svartedal and Hetland, but for Sweden we've got Fredriksson and Lind. For Russia we've got Aliapov and Rutschev. For Finland we've got Kotila and Priikkonen, and the Czech Republic, Kozisek and Kukal. Could they have an impact? And what about Kazakhstan, Chebotko and Koshevoy? If they can keep out of trouble, maybe even they've got a shout. And then, well, it becomes a little less obvious, but having said all of that, I think this men's race is going to be very difficult to predict. The one man who's got, if you like, the X factor is Bjørn Lind. If Sweden are anywhere near the front going into the finish, then Bjørn Lind is perhaps the one man amongst the whole field who has the ability to break away. So just a little update there on the curling, but now to the business end of this race. Toby Fredriksson, former world sprint champion in freestyle in 2003. His partner Bjørn Lind, the world's #1 cross-country ski sprinter, both in classic and in freestyle. And then Jens Arne Svartedal, to be partnered by the 2002 Olympic champion Tor Arne Hetland. Is this going to be consolation in a big way for Norway? Aliapov and Rutschev, the world classic sprint champion. So Russia very much in this. Team 4, this is the Czech Republic, Kozisek, and the mountain climber, his partner Martin Kukal, wearing 20. This is Germany, Jens Filbrich, to be partnered by Andy Schluter. Their chances are not obvious, but this is such a hotly contested race, you just can't be sure. And Bacichak and Batori, tough, grueling racers. Finland, Kotila, well, wife Mira and the twins, Aro and Arpo, and the other kids, Olli and Itu, will be hoping for special things, as will Freddie Schweenbacher and Giorgio Di Centa's family and friends for Italy. Poland, Kretschmer and Kreslot, the Katowice boys. So 14 in red and white. Norway. Poland are also in red and white, but you shouldn't get too confused. It's a slightly different design, but away we go. And on the near side, Toby Fredriksson wearing 1 for Sweden, getting away from Norway. And building up the speed. Toby Fredriksson, 183, 87 kilos from Östersund. Gets us on our way. Jens Arne Svartedal for Norway in second spot. Then 15 going through. That's Aliapov for Russia. 10 nations, 3 medals. On the climb, and the men, they go up this hill a little further, up to their high point, 1,587 meters, up to the tight left-hander, and taking the lead, it is Svartedal, and Aliapov not taking any chances either. just at the back there. That's Italy, Freddie Schweinbacher. That's not a great start for the host nation. Didn't look particularly comfortable in the semi-final, and they only really just got through, but Svartedal is really blazing a trail. Now this is a very, very different tactic here. They are trying to break up this field early. Gensani, 30 years of age, 4 times a winner of classic sprints in the World Cup, plus coming into the games a 15,000 meter classic win, his first distance victory, and that'll be furthest from his mind at the moment. And already they're on the climb back into the stadium, getting ready for the first handover. And Svartedal will hand over to Arne Hetland, 2 years his senior. Hetland, the distinction between him and Svartedal is that Hetland is an Olympic champion in the sprint. Just has a look around. Really important to be aware. They've had problems in the past, and there the pole held up, and look at the difference here, because Hetland goes way out to his right to make sure that he doesn't get tripped or doesn't trip himself, as happened in the semi-finals. And now Björn Lind takes over for Switzerland. Sweden, I should say. Oh, how Switzerland would wish to be in this, but they're not. It's Sweden up front there with Norway. That's Rutschev for Russia. Björn Lind just behind. Just out of picture to the right there is Hetland for Norway. So Svartedal's little attempt to make an early break didn't really come off. And now controlling up front is Vasily Rutschev for Russia. Rutschev, 25 years of age, and looking for his first Olympic Games medal, although he did compete in Salt Lake City. So still early stages in this men's sprint final. And as they take this left-hand turn, a chance for us to catch up on the men's alpine downhill combined, and the news is that Kjetil André Aamodt of Norway will take no part. Now, I don't know the reason for that, but John Clark will certainly know the reason, and he'll guide you through that. As soon as we finish this race, we'll be going there for uninterrupted coverage of the men's combined downhill. So this the opening leg by the second men of each team, and Arne Hetland for Norway, leading the first ever team classic sprint to be included in the Winter Olympic Games. It's been a success story in the World Cup. It was successful in the World Championships in Oberstdorf. So Russia and Norway shoulder to shoulder. Björn Lind for Sweden just behind. And now they come back to the men who opened up for them, and still pretty well the whole field together. Maybe at the moment the Slovakians just struggling a little bit, Batory, and he hands back to Bacicek. And now this is Svartedal out again. Remember, each man does 3 laps, and this is the second lap for the opening runners. Up over the bridge. Important to accelerate up here and also to take the speed, because as they go over this bridge now, the ground starts to drop away to their right as they go into the bottom turn, and they go into the lowest point of the course at 1,561 meters. Interestingly, the Russians, unlike a lot of the teams, unlike the Norwegians, who spent no less than 2 million kroner buying special accommodation for their teams down at Prajalato to avoid being up at the Olympic Village at 2,000 meters, the Russians are all staying at high altitude at the 2,000 meter mark. But at the moment, it is Norway. Svartedal dictating. Fredriksson, nice rhythm behind. Finland, well to the fore there. Kaito Kurtila from Utajärvi going nicely. The Finns with a bronze medal in the women's competition. Can they get another medal here? And of course, the Russians looking for a medal, and into third place goes Alyapov. Germany at the moment, Philbrich needing to do quite a lot of work. The Poles are actually towards the back and struggling now. And once again, Svartedal really breaking up the rhythm here. And this is very interesting. This is somewhat reminiscent of what the Kenyan cross-country and long-distance track runners used to do, the likes of Henry Rono, to try and have an uneven, uninterrupted staccato type of race, which really destroyed the rhythm of all the runners. And at the moment, it's pretty effective, because look at the way that the front three have got away. And the front three are Norway, Russia and Sweden. And they've opened up a gap of about 10 to 12 meters at the moment. And Svartedal coming back into the stadium to open up a gap to give a healthy advantage here to Tuani Hetland. And Alyapov will be handing over to Rutschev. And Sweden, well, Toby Fredriksson, he's giving Björn Lind a stiff test here now to close up on their great Norwegian rivals. The top 9 sprinters in the World Cup rankings coming in to these Olympic Games, all Swedes and Norwegians. But the world champion, of course, is Rutschev of Russia, and he will run the anchor leg for Russia. So Björn Lind now in third place, behind Rutschev, behind Tuani Hetland. And that gap widening now. It's probably 15 to 20 meters. And already the race has taken shape. And it's difficult to see any of the other men getting back into this. Germany just behind there. Andy Schluter, who's partnered by Jens Philbrich, but it's now 35 meters, the gap between the front three, and Hetland continues to apply the pressure. So when they come round into the stadium for the next exchange, it'll be the third and final leg for the opening runners. And all credit to these men who are trying to get back into contention. Germany leading the chase, and that's Kazakhstan. It's Koshevoy, partnered by Chabotko, who runs the first leg, and the Kazakhs would be just about in 5th place now, behind Germany. And Finland, that's Puikkonen in 6th place. So Norway, from Russia, from Sweden, from Germany, from Kazakhstan, from Finland. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But this isn't World Cup. It isn't World Championships. It's the Olympic Games. 3 medals, 3 podium steps. That's all. And now Hetland being closed down on again by Rutschev, with Björn Lind just cruising at the moment. Björn Lind, as they come up, and that's something you don't see too often, for the leaders to be lapping the back markers. So now the penultimate changeover. So Vasily Rutschev will now hand over to 23-year-old Ivan Alyapov from Ekaterinburg for his final race round this 1,325 meter course. Remember, there's still one more leg to go. Kazakhstan doing really well. Chebotko now, who has the responsibility for Kazakhstan. Kutila has the responsibility for Finland. Fredriksson is the man who Sweden now look to. Norway depend on Svartadell, who just nips into the lead ahead of Toby Fredriksson of Sweden. So it's Norway, Sweden, and then it's Russia. And look at this. Two groups of three have now become almost one group of six. And that just shows you that the pace in that exchange slackened, and it allowed the back three to close up. No joy for Italy. Schweenbacher and De Centa, no medals for them. They're not involved in this anymore, sad to say. Also Slovakia well out of it. And these are the sixth. So, Svartadell, 1.81 m tall. Toby Fredriksson, 1.83 m tall. Aliapov, the shortest of the front three at 1.78 m, but they're accelerating again. And now Jens Filbrich, 26 years of age, from Oberhof, trying to follow up the good work done by Andy Schluter. Chebotko there of the Kazakhstan duo in fifth place. That's pretty decent. He was individually 8th in the World Championship Classic Sprint last year. And it's a good run by the Kazakhs, but you just sense now that the gap they closed has opened up again. Still one more leg to go, and it's still looking like a three-way fight, but Svartadell trying to make gold Norway's, because he knows that Björn Lind has a dynamite finish. Now, if he opens this gap up and he holds it, then he puts real pressure on Björn Lind, who may not be able to use all his great strength and speed to close the gap to give Sweden a famous golden double on this fabulous sunny Tuesday morning in Sestriere Progelato Plan. And now round the final turn for the final time comes Svartadell. He looks, he digs in, he double poles, he tries to get everything out of this. Every millimeter counts. Aliapov for Russia, and then in third place it's the Swede Toby Fredriksson, a former world champion, but yet to be an Olympic medalist. Is this going to be the time for Toby Fredriksson? But out goes Arne Hetland, the Olympic freestyle champion from Salt Lake City. Vasily Rotchev, the world classic champion from Oberstdorf last year, pursued by Björn Lind, the world's #1 sprinter, the top man in the rankings. And Lind closing the gap noticeably before they get to the pedestrian roller. And it's now three together. Lind just goes into the cruise. Skis working well, glides down, tucks in, just relaxes, tells Rutschev that he's right behind him. And in front it is Hetland. Is that the right place to be when they come into the stadium? Hetland, 32 years of age, from Stavanger, these days from Trondheim. Big, powerful guy, 1.86 m, 82 kilos, the Olympic champion, the world sprint champion back in 2001, and 2 other world sprint medals. He is the master sprinter, but this season that mastership has been owned and taken by the man currently in third place in white for Sweden, Björn Lind. If any man can break away on the top turn, it'll be Björn Lind. But still, the world champion Rutschev, the meat in the sandwich between the Norwegian on the right, and now Rutschev takes the lead coming up to this turn, the left-hander. And Lind just closing up just a little bit here. Rutschev, an imposing figure for the Russians, 25 years of age. We've had 2 classic sprints individually, and he just waits. And Rutschev has finished third in both of those. Hetland was runner-up in one of them. And Lind, well, he won one, but he was only 8th in the second of the 2 classic sprints. And this is cat and mouse between these 3 men. What is Lind's plan? Lind cruises into second place. Is he going to make a power break, or is he going to wait? If Lind is really confident of his speed, then he'll wait till the last 100 metres to go for Hetland. But Hetland has a famous final 10-metre lunge, and at the moment these two are getting away from Vasily Rotchev, the world champion. It's Norway in red, it's Sweden in white, it's the Olympic champion on the left, it's the #1 sprinter, and here comes Rotchev, who comes charging late. The world champion goes past the World Cup sprint leader. Hetland on the far side, on the near side in blue. It's Rotchev. Lind looking for a way through. They come into the final 100. The Olympic champion from Salt Lake City, Björn Lind, moves up a gear on the far side for Sweden in white, and Björn Lind dives to give Sweden 2 out of 2 in the team sprint championship and takes gold from Norway, with Russia in bronze. What a day for Sweden. What a day for Inga Bråten. What a day for Björn Lind, partner Toby Fredriksson, and also Anna Dahlberg and Lena Andersson. It doesn't get better than this if you're a Swede. What a great sprint. Lind absolutely confident of the power that he could generate in the last 50, and Hetland absolutely no answer, and neither an answer from Rotchev, the world champion. The very best were there. Nobody was missing.